47% of adults in the US have high blood pressure or hypertension, and most of them lived with it for years before being diagnosed. Did you know that 54% of people who have strokes and 47% of people who have had a heart attack had high blood pressure? Often the first time they hear their blood pressure is high is when they're faced with a significant event, because it's mostly symptomless unless it gets really high. Today I'm talking about hypertension and the simple adjustments you can make in your life and how your being actually has a really strong connection with your blood pressure. Let's talk about heart health, shall we?
Well, hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Project Joyful podcast. I'm your host, Tracy, your medical herbalist and high performance coach. So, hey, Project Joyful isn't just about being happy. It's about consciously creating a life you love. It's about remembering how to reconnect with your soul-centered joy. You know, that joy that comes from doing what you love, from living on purpose, and from being in a life that allows you to experience deep joy moment by moment. So hey, let's get started, shall we?
Did you know that 47% of adults in the USA have hypertension or high blood pressure? High blood pressure is diagnosed when your systolic blood pressure is above 130 or your diastolic blood pressure is above 80. Or you're already taking medication to manage your high blood pressure. Now, globally, it's estimated that 26% of our world's population have high blood pressure, and it's estimated to increase to 29% by 2025. That's a lot of people. So what's the big deal about this? Well, high blood pressure is attributed to 7.6 million deaths each year, and 54% of people who have strokes and 47% of people who have heart attacks also have high blood pressure. And many people aren't aware that they have high blood pressure, or they're ignoring the signs of high blood pressure. So what is it? Well, blood pressure is a measure of the amount of blood that's pumped by your heart and the space in your arteries for your blood to flow through it. It's referred to as the amount of resistance. Systolic pressure measures the pressure when your heart beats. Diastolic pressure is a measure of the force in your arteries in between those beats. Most people with high blood pressure don't have any noticeable symptoms, and it's a complete surprise when high blood pressure is revealed during a routine checkup. Some people do experience symptoms such as headaches, nosebleeds, a red face, dizziness, and it's important that if you're measuring your own blood pressure that you use a cuff that fits correctly, because too small a cuff can give an inaccurate reading and it appears higher than what your blood pressure actually is. Did you know that how you feel can have an impact on your blood pressure? In particular, researchers have found a correlation between your stress levels and your blood pressure. Moments of stress increase your blood pressure, and that's normal. And once the stress is passed, your body returns to its normal state and your blood pressure goes down. But if you're dealing with high levels of stress, and this has been going on for quite some time, your blood pressure is going to increase over the long term. This is because, as well as that cortisol-fueled surge that comes with our body's fight or flight response to stress, long-term stress encourages your body to adapt to this new norm by releasing large amounts of vasoconstricting hormones that also increase blood pressure. Couple that with how we tend to look after our bodies when we're stressed, lots of fat, sugar and caffeine to supposedly sustain us and get our energy up. Well, now we're looking at a range of things together which even on their own are able to increase our blood pressure. Sleep is a vital healing and restorative process that can repair the damage done in the day by having high blood pressure. But the recovery happens in stage 3 of your sleep. So that's just before REM. And if stress is disturbing your sleep pattern, it becomes harder for the body to repair. Researchers also found that anger increases systolic pressure and anxiety increases diastolic pressure. And being happy can reduce your systolic blood pressure. So there's a real strong connection between how we feel and how that shows up in our blood pressure. So what can you do if you have high blood pressure? Well, the good news is that you have a variety of resources at your fingertips. Start by getting in the habit of breathing deeply. Breathe all the way into the bottom of your lungs. It's your diaphragm that needs to be moving. When we're stressed, we tend to shallow breathe. And shallow breathing is also known as thoracic breathing or chest breathing. And it's when we subconsciously shortcut the effort of breathing by using our intercostal muscles rather than our diaphragm to breathe. It makes us feel anxious. It increases our risk of developing cardiovascular disease or respiratory conditions, and it's largely habitual. You can retrain your body by lying on the floor with your hands on either side of your diaphragm, so across your tummy. Make sure your fingers are touching in the middle of your abdomen. Now, as you breathe in for a count of 7, notice that your fingers are moving apart. That's a good thing. Hold your breath for a count of 3, and then breathe out for a count of 10. And as you're doing this, watch your fingers move back together as you breathe out. Hold for another count of 3 on that out breath, and then repeat. In for 7, hold for 3, out for 10, wait for 3. Do this 3 times. So during the day when you're out and about and when lying on the floor feels a little bit antisocial, simply breathe in deeply using your diaphragm. If you need to set an alarm on your phone to remind you to take a moment to breathe deeply and calmly, do that now. Okay, so now that you've scheduled in some good quality breathing time, make sure you're drinking enough water to stay hydrated. For me, that's around 3 litres of water each day, with exercise hydration added on top. So why does drinking water matter? Well, when you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker because there's less fluid in it. Now, your body is amazing. It has a multitude of self-correcting tools. In this case, your kidneys will release renin, and as a result, you retain water in order to correct your blood's viscosity. Now, if this is a constant thing, over time that can change your sodium-potassium balance, and this will increase your blood pressure. Dehydration also triggers the release of vasopressin, and one of the many things that vasopressin does is it reduces the amount of water that's excreted by your kidneys, and instead it reabsorbs it. And that's why it's known as an antidiuretic hormone. So if you're on medication for high blood pressure, one of those drugs is likely to be a diuretic. It means you'll pass more urine as a result, so you want to ensure that you're staying hydrated. Foods such as celery and dandelion leaves are also diuretics. So eating lots of green things and moving your body also plays an important role, as well as mindfulness practices such as meditation or the nurturing styles of yoga or Tai Chi. Find activities that get you in the zone, like gardening or colouring in or baking bread. Remember, most people will have high blood pressure for years before it's diagnosed. So get your blood pressure measured today so you know whether this is something you're unknowingly already dealing with. There are a wide variety of things you can do to lower your blood pressure. Medication is just one option in a wide variety of effective management mechanisms. Pay attention to your habitual emotional state. If you find anger or frustration is your go-to, work with a professional to modify that habitual response. Breathe deeply and calmly. Stay hydrated, eat a wide variety of foods that are low in sugar and unhelpful fats, and have some fun. Move your body, and most importantly, remain aware of what triggers your changes in your body. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's podcast. Can I ask you a favour? If our conversation spoke to you today, could you please take a moment to leave a 5-star review? Your review will help people discover this podcast, and together we can create a world where there's even more love and more laughter. And if you want to hear more from the Project Joyful podcast, just click the subscribe button. Bye for now.